Smart Life. I am Dr. Gina, and I am honored to have in studio with me Kira Davis and also Ryan Girdusky by Skype. And we are going to go over some of the things happening in the news today. But just a reminder first, you can watch us live in cities around the country on Biz TV, growing all the time. Now on the air in New York, Philadelphia, and Orlando. Biz TV, it's your biz. And of course, you can view past episodes of Smart Life at moneybizlife.com. Mayor de Blasio in New York City is at it again. First, he was trying to ban the iconic horse carriages in the city. This is the important job of the mayor. And this time, he is working to overturn a ban on, you've got it right, ferret ownership in the city. Who would want to own those stinky little things anyway? But some wish he would just stop meddling so darn much and start stashing envelopes full of cash around the city. Ryan Girdusky, as I said, is on with us from New York City. And Kira Davis here in studio. Welcome to both of you. Ryan, going to you first. It seems to me, and just correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me, Ryan, that this mayor is obsessed with things that don't matter at all to the heart of New Yorkers. Is that an adequate assessment?
That is 100% true. The mayor spends more time on inter-party politics, fighting with the governor, and promoting things that New Yorkers don't care about than solving the crises that New Yorkers actually face.
Kira, we've got the cash stashing now. We're saying we wish the mayor would do that instead of banning ferrets. And we've got, of course, this banning soda history from before. And we've got the banning horse carriage rides. A lot of people are really, this cash stashing is catching on. Does this bring out the best or the worst in people?
I think it's both. I'd like to say, though, that my husband was a ferret owner.
Okay, I apologize.
And they are dirty, horrible creatures. They are
they
awful.
Just smell, and I'm a olfactory kind of person, and
yeah, no, they're horrible. And I think it's hilarious that he wants to overturn the ban on the most horrible creatures on the face of the planet, but he wanted to ban mimosas, which, by the way, I thought was like, that was a bridge too far to ban bottomless mimosas in New York City.
Yeah.
But I think that when things like this happen, it reminds us of the kind of the desperate times that people are in. Mm-hmm. You know, when a story like this, like stashing this cash, can catch on and catch the imagination of people, it's a feel-good story and it's fun. But to me, the underlying point is that there are a lot of people who are so desperate that is like what they're banking their next meal or their bills on, is like hopefully being the person that finds a stash of cash somewhere.
And the thing that's dangerous about this, Ryan, is the fact that once these things happen in some place like New York or like LA, they don't stay there, because there's something about California and New York that are intoxicatingly, they spread. They're viral, right? And so if it happens there, you can't have ferrets anymore. You can't have big drinks. You can't. It's going to happen across the country.
Well, the ferret ban was already in place, and I don't really care about ferrets. I would never own one personally.
I can't believe we're talking about ferrets right now.
But it's legal in New York City to have a caged New York City subway rat. So I feel like if that's legal, then maybe ferrets should be. I don't know. It doesn't really matter to me. I think there's more important things like the liquidity of the city that should be focused on by the mayor.
Oh, that. Silly you,
the
Ryan. Silly you, thinking that economics matter and that should be the priority of the mayor. Yeah.
Right. You know, call me crazy, but I think that the stash cashing thing. I think it's a great thing. At the same time, I don't think just giving someone money necessarily helps them in the long term. And it is a little sad that people are. I mean, there was a news clip in California where this lady was like, "Now I can pay for my grandma's medical bills." It's kind of sad. That shows what society is.
Very sad. And we all know New York has a lot of vagrancy happening. And that is a sad thing, especially when we look at so many of the folks out there that are homeless. They're veterans. And we've seen these massive problems in the Veterans Administration. And yet it seems like not a lot is really happening on that now that we've shifted our attention to this whole Bergdahl release. Ryan, do you believe that's a distraction from the Veterans Administration scandal?
You know, I don't know how Obama would create a distraction from a scandal with an even worse scandal. I mean, those now that you call it music like volume 50, it's like now what we call it scandal volume 44. It's one thing after the other. It's the VA hospitals, it's the Obamacare website. I was just trying to IRS. It's just one thing after
Benghazi, NSA, Fast and Furious. I mean, we can't hardly keep up. Yeah. I'm going to turn it to you, Kira, for just a second, because I want to know what you think will happen from here on out. People are talking about impeachment. Is it possible? And is the foundation in place for it at this point? Is this the straw that finally could break the impeachment camel's back, so to speak?
I don't know, because we've been talking about impeachment for so long, it's almost become like a buzzword that doesn't really mean anything. Like, impeachment. But the people who really can start impeachment proceedings, I mean, you and I can sit in here and talk about it all day long, but we can't start impeachment proceedings. Our representatives need to do it. And those people haven't really proved themselves to have much of a backbone. I don't know what it is that Obama has on every single member of Congress, but if it's going to be anything, it would be this, because I think both sides of the political spectrum are very curious as to what exactly is going on here. And when you hear CNN and MSNBC reporting, these deleted tweets from his dad and reporting that this guy may be a deserter, they're not covering it up. They're reporting it. That's how you know that that's kind of a bigger story than just kind of the right, blogosphere or whatever, just getting fired up. We may see some movement on it. I'm not going to hold my breath, though.
Back to New York for just a moment, but still related. Ryan, I want to ask you, Hillary Clinton, how is that? I mean, New York knows Hillary well. How is her race squaring up? Some are saying she's too old to run. Some are saying there's too much dirt. Some are saying she'll win simply because she's female, and it looks like the GOP isn't really going to put up a female this time. What say Ryan?
I have one other thing about impeachment first. I hope they don't impeach Obama, because if they do, it will be a rallying cry for Democrats in November, and they'll go to the polls, and we might lose elections that we otherwise would have, because it might be something for Democrats to go vote on. But on Hillary Clinton, Hurricane Hillary seems to be picking up momentum, but I don't necessarily think that. I've always said I don't believe in my heart she's going to run. I think losing to Obama, to a 6-month incumbent senator, probably killed her heart a lot. And I think that there is a conversation happening in the country, at least on the news, that sits there and says, what has Hillary ever accomplished? And many people are sitting there and saying it. On foreign policy, she was a disaster. As a U.S. senator, she never did a major piece of legislation. And as First Lady, her only signature thing was Hillary Care, and that nearly ended Bill Clinton's presidency.
Kira, how does all of this that's happening right now affect the women's vote? And I want you to speak specifically, because you've written about it extensively too, the minority women's vote. I mean, what's going on in people's minds while they're seeing this Veterans Administration scandal, while they're seeing Tamarisi held in a Mexican prison while this deserter apparently is released, while they're watching their own economic demise and that of their children, by the way? What's happening in the minds of women right now?
Well, for one thing, I agree with Ryan. I really don't think Hillary is going to run, but I think the sleeper to watch out for is Elizabeth Warren. Okay. And we might see a very strong run from her. And if we do, we're going to have to address that. But I think I think we're still going to see the split that we saw in 2012 with women. I mean, the polls still show women, especially single mothers who are becoming an increasing group in this country, are with Obama. I think in the minority community, I think what we're going to see, this is my prediction, is a lot fewer minority voters in 2016. They're not coming out for Obama. And a lot of these issues that you and I and Ryan are talking about that we're concerned about, these aren't touchstones in the minority community. It seems insane to think that, but minorities are they have the highest unemployment, the least education, like they're dealing with their own issues in the communities that Obama is not addressing at all and that they're ticked about. So I think if there's any kind of action, generally speaking, this is a generalization, if there's any kind of action on the minority part in 2016, it will be to deliberately just stay home.
Just the inaction. What are the touchstone issues? Quickly, we're almost out of time.
Unemployment. Unemployment.
But do they realize policy measures that result in more unemployment, or they just realize that person out there saying jobs?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's obviously
And that's
usually
the
gonna
failure of the GOP.
That
to
is
not
a
make that
failure of the
connection.
communication of the GOP, something Ryan and I have talked about many times. Ryan, thank you so much for being on with us today. And Kira, thank you as well. Ryan, tell us where we can find you online.
You can find me on Twitter at RyJamesG or at my website, RyanGirdusky.com.
Worst Twitter handle in history, but we love him anyway. That is Ryan Girdusky. And Kira Davis, tell us where we can find you as well.
Gina, you can find me on Twitter at Kira Ann, A-Y-N, as in Ayn Rand Davis.
Yeah.
That is really my name, by the way. It's not.
I've always wondered.
No, it
I've
is
always
really
meant to
my
ask you
name.
that question,
People
and
think
finally,
it's like a pen name. No, that is really my whole real name. And
it is spelled that way.
It is spelled that way, but we say Ann, not Ayn. But also you can find me at ijreview.com, and then look me up on YouTube. I do commentaries there, and people like them, and sometimes they go viral. So see if I connect with you.
She's a fun girl. They're both fun. Thanks so much for being with us, both of you. Don't forget, we'd love to hear from you. You can always go to the Smart Life page, moneybizlife.com. Click the Ask Dr. Gina button and send us an email.